There comes a moment in a man's life when he stops begging for clarity, validation, or closure, and he starts reclaiming his power. And that exact moment, yes, that split second when you stop chasing, is the moment she begins to feel something she never expected. Regret. Deep, unsettling regret. The kind that shows up late at night, when she's scrolling through old messages, replaying old memories, asking herself why she ever thought she could replace you. But here's the truth most men never understand. Women don't regret losing you because you cry, plead, explain, argue, or negotiate. Women regret losing you when you finally do the one move every confident man eventually learns. The one move that flips the power dynamic, rewrites the story, and makes her see you in a way she never did before. And no, it's not revenge, manipulation, or games. It's something much deeper, something more psychological. Something that makes her feel your absence in a way that cuts through her pride. Before I reveal this move, let's rewind for a moment. Because regret doesn't begin the moment she walks away. Regret begins the moment she realizes you've become someone she can't reach anymore. Someone she can't guilt, can't control emotionally, can't pull back with a simple, "I miss you." When a woman feels she still has access to you, she never truly feels your loss. When she senses that you're still waiting, watching, hoping, she never fears losing you. But when your energy shifts, when you become a man who doesn't cling to the past, who doesn't fall apart, who doesn't beg to be chosen, something primal activates inside her mind. Suddenly, she feels the weight of everything she took for granted. Your presence, your attention, your consistency, all the things she assumed would always be there, gone. Now before we go deeper, welcome to Be Feminine, the place where we decode the psychology behind love, desire, and human behavior. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because we don't just teach you how to attract, we teach you how to transform. Let's continue. Women don't regret losing men who chase, they regret losing men who upgrade. And that's the one move. Not blocking her, not ignoring her, not posting some dramatic "I'm done" message. The move that makes any woman regret losing you is transforming yourself into the man she only realizes she wanted after she can't have him anymore. It's becoming the man she thought you couldn't be, not for her, but for yourself. Because here's a psychological truth backed by behavioral research. Nothing triggers regret more powerfully than seeing someone thrive without you, especially someone who once cared deeply for you. When she sees you glowing instead of grieving, focused instead of frustrated, leveling up instead of breaking down, she starts asking questions. Dangerous questions. Why didn't he try harder for me? How did he move on so fast? Was I holding him back? What if he becomes even better? What if someone else gets the version of him I never appreciated? And that fear of being replaced by a better version of you, is the seed of regret. When you withdraw your attention, she notices. When you detach emotionally, she feels it. But when you elevate your life, she regrets it. The one move is simple yet powerful. You shift your energy from trying to get her back to becoming a man she'll wish she never lost. And the moment she recognizes that you no longer orbit around her, that's when the regret begins. The moment you stop chasing her is the moment her mind starts chasing you. But this shift doesn't happen in an obvious, dramatic way. It unfolds silently, slowly, inside her psychology, like a quiet storm she didn't predict. And the deeper truth is this: women don't regret losing you because of what you say. They regret losing you because of what they begin to realize when you're no longer there. At first, she feels relieved. She tells herself she made the right choice. She convinces herself you'll still be around if she ever wants you. Every woman clings to this subconscious belief that she can come back when she wants, because men rarely move on emotionally. But then something unexpected happens. She starts noticing changes in you. Not the obvious ones, not the posting quotes or trying to look happy kind of changes. Those don't affect her because she knows they're temporary. They're emotional reactions. What affects her deeply, what touches her pride, what shakes her certainty, is when you start changing in ways she didn't expect. When your silence isn't emotional, it's peaceful. When your absence isn't angry, it's intentional. When your focus isn't on her, it's on your growth. Suddenly, she begins to feel something she hasn't felt in a long time. Curiosity. What is he doing? Why isn't he affected? How has he changed so quickly? And most importantly, is he slipping out of my reach? See, what triggers regret the hardest is not that she misses you. It's that she misses the version of herself she could be around you. The comfort, the emotional safety, the feeling of being wanted without asking. Women never realize how rare that is until it's gone. But here's where the psychology becomes even more powerful. Women regret losing a man the moment they start comparing. The moment they meet someone new and feel nothing close to what they felt with you. Not the connection, not the comfort, not the effort, not the genuine interest. Her regret begins when she realizes that you were not ordinary, that your presence was not replaceable, that your energy had value she never recognized until it disappeared. But your transformation, the one move that causes all this, doesn't require you to pretend or play mind games. It requires you to shift 3 things inside yourself: your energy, your attention, and your direction. Let's break them down psychologically. 1. Your energy changes. She was used to you being available. She expected your softness, your patience, your emotional openness. But when you stop feeding her emotionally, she feels a vacuum. Women feel absence more intensely than conflict. When you close your heart, not out of bitterness but out of maturity, she senses it instantly. 2. Your attention changes. Women don't regret losing a man they can predict. They regret losing a man who becomes unpredictable. When your attention is no longer centered on her, when you stop reacting, when you no longer respond to her silence with desperation, she feels displaced. Her ego feels uncomfortable. Her mind feels unsettled. Why isn't he thinking about me? Why isn't he trying anymore? These thoughts are the first real cracks in her confidence. 3. Your direction changes. This is where the deepest regret forms. When your life starts moving upward, emotionally, financially, physically, mentally, she realizes she let go of a man who was evolving. And evolution is attractive in ways she can't articulate. It hits her sense of judgment. It challenges her past decision. It makes her question everything. This is why the one move works, because it turns your loss into your transformation, and your transformation becomes her regret. Regret isn't loud. It doesn't come with a dramatic apology or a sudden confession. It starts quietly, like a whisper in the back of her mind that she tries to ignore. But the more you rise, the louder it becomes inside her. And eventually, it shows through her behavior, even if she tries to hide it. A woman who regrets losing you doesn't walk back confidently. She circles back slowly, indirectly, carefully, because her pride won't allow a direct approach. She won't message outright. She won't confess instantly. But she will show signs, and if you pay attention, you'll notice them. The first sign is her sudden curiosity about your life. She may not ask you directly, but she starts watching you from a distance, checking your stories, lurking on your social media, asking mutual friends about you, trying to piece together what's happening in your life without revealing she cares. This curiosity is not casual. It's emotional. It's driven by the fear that you might be moving on too well. Then comes the second sign, random reappearances. She will send a small message, a comment, a reaction, something subtle like, "Hey, this reminded me of you," or "Hope you're doing well." Women never reach out unless they feel something stirring inside them, and regret is one of the biggest motivators. Another sign? She starts comparing herself to people in your orbit. Even if you haven't moved on romantically, her mind assumes you might. A woman's fear of being replaced is far stronger than her fear of being alone. So when she sees you leveling up, healing, looking better, laughing more, or simply glowing without her, she imagines another woman getting the version of you she once took for granted. That thought alone can trigger deep emotional panic. But the regret grows even stronger when she realizes something else. You're no longer the same man she left. Your tone is different. Your energy is calmer. Your boundaries are sharper. Your presence is stronger. You're not seeking validation. You're not waiting for her attention. She can feel the shift even if you say nothing, because emotional detachment radiates through your smallest actions. Women are highly intuitive. They can sense when a man's heart is no longer where it once was. And that realization hits harder than any breakup. It makes her look back at every moment, every conversation, every decision, wondering if she misjudged your worth. She remembers the times you were patient, the way you listened, the effort you gave, the way you cared without holding back. All the things she didn't appreciate because she assumed they would never disappear. Now, those same memories become markers of her mistake. But the most powerful sign of regret comes from her tone. It becomes softer, more respectful, more cautious. Why? Because when a woman realizes she no longer has emotional control, her approach changes naturally. She becomes careful with her words because she doesn't want to push you further away. She becomes gentle because she remembers the comfort she lost. She becomes hesitant because she knows she no longer holds the advantage. The irony is, the more she regrets losing you, the more she tries to hide it. But her behavior exposes her. She may act indifferent, but her attention gives her away. She may appear strong, but her silence is filled with questions. She may pretend she's moved on, but her actions betray her emotions. And here's the deeper truth. Women don't regret losing you because they suddenly realize your value. They regret losing you because they realize their life is less without your presence. But regret alone isn't enough to bring her back emotionally. A deeper shift must occur inside her, a psychological shift that flips the power dynamic completely. Regret is powerful, but regret turning into desire is something entirely different. A woman can regret losing you quietly, internally, secretly. She can feel nostalgic, curious, even guilty. But the moment she begins to want you again, that's when the entire emotional dynamic flips. And this shift never happens because you chase her. It happens because she realizes 3 things that hit her harder than any breakup ever could. The first realization is this: you didn't fall apart without her. Most men break emotionally when a woman walks away. They try to fix things instantly. They panic. They lose control. But when you don't collapse, when you don't lose yourself, when you don't turn into a weaker version of who you were, she starts seeing you differently. A stable man is magnetic. A man who can survive emotional pain without losing himself triggers something primal in a woman, because women know how rare that strength is. This is when desire starts forming again. Not the desire for attention, not the desire to feel wanted, but the desire for you, your energy, your calm, your emotional maturity, your presence. The second realization comes even harder. You healed in ways she didn't expect. She sees your growth. She sees your improvement. Maybe you look healthier, sharper, more focused. Maybe your mindset evolved. Maybe your priorities shifted. You're not trying to impress her, but the version of you she left behind is gone. And that's what hurts her. Not your silence, not your distance, not your detachment, but the fact that you became the man she always imagined you could be, only after she walked away. This is where desire intensifies, because now she's not missing your past self, she's craving the new version of you, the version that is stronger, more confident, more grounded. The third realization is the most painful one for her. She no longer has access to you. She can't just walk back into your life. She can't rely on your softness. She can't use old emotional shortcuts to reach you. You've changed. Your energy has changed. Your boundaries have evolved. And that creates a psychological tension inside her. The "I want him, but I don't know if he still wants me" conflict. That conflict is what turns regret into longing, into craving, into desire. Women desire what they fear losing permanently. They desire what becomes exclusive. They desire what elevates in value. And when you transform, your value naturally rises. But here's the part most men never realize. Desire comes from distance and mystery, not availability, not reassurance, not emotional dependence. When she can no longer predict your thoughts, your feelings, or your intentions, she becomes more drawn to you, because unpredictability is exciting. It awakens her curiosity. It activates her attraction. She starts wondering, does he think of me? Does he miss me? Does he still want me? And those questions are the fuel of female desire. But here's the twist. A woman only experiences this desire fully when she feels she might lose you to someone else. Even if you're single, even if you're not dating, even if you've given no sign of moving on, your emotional freedom alone makes her feel replaced. Not by another woman, but by a better version of yourself. Your glow becomes her fear. Your growth becomes her insecurity. Your confidence becomes her craving. And that's when she starts wanting you back. Not because she needs you, but because she realizes the man you've become is worth wanting. There comes a final moment in a woman's regret. A moment far more intense than missing you, far more emotional than reminiscing about you, and far more painful than simply wanting you back. It's the moment she realizes she can't undo what she did. The moment she understands that the version of you she once took for granted is gone forever. And that hit, that emotional punch, is what makes regret turn into the deepest form of longing. This stage begins when she sees the truth with her own eyes, not through imagination, not through fear, not through curiosity, but through reality. Maybe she sees you in person and feels the weight of the distance. Maybe she sees you online and senses the glow of your transformation. Maybe she hears about you from someone else and realizes you're at peace. Whatever the cause, this moment triggers one quiet but powerful thought inside her mind. He doesn't belong to me anymore. And that thought breaks her. Because regret stops being an emotional reaction and becomes a psychological consequence, she begins to replay everything. The arguments, the cold moments, the times she dismissed your effort, the times she assumed you would always stay. Women remember everything, not because they want to, but because memory is connected to emotion. And when regret hits, every memory becomes sharper, heavier, more real. She remembers your softness, now that it's gone. She remembers your effort, now that no one gives her the same. She remembers your loyalty, now that she sees how rare it actually was. She remembers your presence, now that your absence feels like a void. And that's when she starts imagining something she never thought she would. You with someone else. Even if you're single, even if you're not dating, even if you've never mentioned another woman, she imagines it. Because your growth makes her assume someone will eventually see what she didn't appreciate. And that fear is deeper than jealousy. It's deeper than insecurity. It's the fear of permanent loss. The fear that another woman will experience the version of you she never valued. This is the emotional stage where she tries to come back. Sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. Maybe she reaches out with a message that sounds innocent but carries emotional weight. Maybe she tries to reconnect through mutual friends. Maybe she starts liking old photos or watching every story. These are not accidents. They are emotional signals, attempts to reopen a door she once chose to close. But here is where your power truly matters. You must stay grounded in the man you've become, because your transformation is what created her regret. Your growth is what elevated your value. Your strength is what broke the old dynamic. And if you slip back into who you were before, the regret dissolves. The desire fades. The balance resets. This is why your evolution must not be temporary. It must be who you truly are now. If she comes back, she must meet the new you, the version who loves himself first, who knows his value, who sets boundaries with calm confidence, who doesn't negotiate for love or beg for attention, who understands that being chosen is a privilege, not a reward, because the deepest regret a woman can ever feel is realizing she lost a man who finally became everything she always wanted after she lost him. And when you hold your ground, when you continue growing, when you protect your emotional peace, she feels the truth painfully. Losing you was the biggest mistake she ever made. This is the real one move. Not revenge, not anger, not silence, but arrival. arriving into a stronger, wiser, more powerful version of yourself, and letting your transformation speak louder than anything you could ever say. Thank you for watching Be Feminine. If this message touched your heart, your mind, or your perspective, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs it. And remember, your value rises the moment you realize you were never meant to chase, you were meant to evolve. I'll see you in the next video.